Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you guys are having a good one. So I had this game last weekend, and I wanted to sit down and just talk about it a little bit because this was a 4-0 comeback, and normally whenever I upload a 4-0 comeback, it's flashy plays, it's making big gambles and big clutches and whatnot. That really wasn't what this game was. It was actually more of a change of mentality and a different way of approaching the game that was really interesting to me because it kind of went against what I normally do as a player, and I think it's actually a really good teaching moment for a lot of you guys who play trials. Being able to recognize 4-0 down, hey, I need to change something, and not having to take the spotlight and do everything yourself. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm gonna kind of go over this game and talk a little bit about my mentality and the mindset and a few things like that. So yeah, this first round, I feel like I played this first round okay. I was able to get the opening pick in the 1v3, but yeah, I didn't really play it too well at the end, and you can see two players bagging me off the rip. So right now I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be one of these games. I'll be honest at this point. This last week in the trials was pretty tilting. It was a lot of invis hunters and controllers and bullshittery and wasn't fun. So I'm like, okay, whatever. These guys are just teabagging me. I'm gonna try and pick up the pace, and I go in and I make a stupid mistake. I give away a free pick. Controller player with an SMG. There's no reason I should be pushing that. That was definitely something where I'm like, I'm just a better player. I'm gonna push this guy. He used that to his advantage and puts me down. Right. So now we're 2-0 down within what you know 3 minutes. Right. And yeah, it's not looking too good. I'm gonna be honest. So I'm still kind of tilted. Not gonna lie, from previous games. Not necessarily this game. I don't really find it a problem. People teabag me. I mean, come on, man. You think these guys are the first guys who've ever teabagged me? It's just not how it works. But um, more just frustrated about just the overall landscape of the game. And here, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put a rift down. I'm gonna take a gamble, maybe get this opening pick. He doesn't peek, delays the peek, gets a good kill. Well played to him. And we're 3-0 down, right? It's like, oh my god, what the hell is happening? So at this point in the game, I'm still thinking I can win this. I'm thinking, okay, these 3 rounds, I did okay the first round. I can definitely move around if I'm intelligent enough. I can find opening picks. I'm not really too worried right now about a comeback. It's more just, I see my teammates dropping, and little thing doesn't go my way there. It's like I kind of full commit. I don't get the kill, and he catches me off guard by still being in the same spot. It's little things like that can make a big difference in trials games, and it's really important to not get super tilted about those things because it's one of those things where some people think if you get 5-0'd in a trials game that you got completely destroyed, but that's not really the case. For example, in a soccer game, right, you can lose 3-0, but you can still play well. They just had moments of quality in the right moments, right? So that's kind of my mentality coming to this round. And obviously there's a little bit of it's like, hey, I'm not playing very well. I'm not really hitting my shots. So let's actually talk about the comeback here. So right now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to play smart. I'm going to kind of try and approach the game a little more methodically, a little more defaulty. And I actually probably should have deserved to die there, but I see my teammate get an opening pick, and I'm thinking, okay, this is good. I need to just help him control the revives, make sure he doesn't die. He gets a second pick, and now my job is kind of just to help the other teammate. So don't really do much this round. Teammate did all the heavy lifting, but this round gives me confidence in thinking, okay, hey, this guy can get opening picks if I support him correctly. So instead of being that main guy where I have to go out and make the big plays and do all the things, I'm going to look at this game from more of a supportive role, right? I still want to push the boundaries, which you're seeing here. I still want to take aggression and I don't want to play too passive, right? You still want to play with confidence, but I don't want to full commit, right? So here I'm more supporting my teammate. I'm getting big tags on that. I'm trying to let my teammates take engagements, and then I come in and actually just try and whittle him down, put a little bit of damage on. So I get a good opening pick there. That's he played way too aggressively, overstayed his hand, and this is just a standard cleanup. So this is a good round for me. This is a very good um, not really passive round. It's more of just a supportive round, right? And I think this round actually gave me a lot of confidence in like, hey, we can win this game as long as we play right. I these guys, let's be honest. I mean, yeah, they're teabagging me, whatever. But this isn't even like me being petty. It's like I can 5-0 these guys. These guys aren't very good players. And you can see that the guy just flies in with an ability because he gets tilted. You can kind of tell when you're playing against players who have a weak mentality. In this case, I know all I have to do is kind of jiggle this angle, my teammate's on the flank, and then I can, kind of pick off the other guys. So I'm trying to talk quickly, but 4-3 now, right? And I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just playing smart. I'm being not dependable, but I'm being predictable for my teammate. I'm trying to put myself in a position where, hey, you know, you can play your game, teammate, try and get opening picks, and you just play your game. I'm going to try and put out fires across the map. And here, this is another great example. I put this rift down here, not for me, but for my teammates to duel. And unfortunately, this guy at the bottom, just peeks for no reason off the end. Right? And thankfully, teammate on the flank gets the kill. But once again, you can see it's a lot of, very, very simple play, right? Teammate is the one making the big plays. And a lot of top players will think, hey, I have to be the one to make big plays. I need to be the one. I need to prove how good I am. But that's just not how team games work. Sometimes if your teammate is playing well and getting opening picks, you play to support them. If your star striker is not scoring the goals and your left wing is scoring the goals, then you help the left wing score the goals, right? But whenever 4-4 comes around, always in my mind, like this is my element. I love 4-4 rounds because I feel like I have the mentality, I have the skills. I feel like I'm a complete player in these kind of rounds, and these are the rounds I shine. Like, for example, here, I think other players would have pushed him. I would have just died. I would have gotten shotgunned, right? By playing my life there, even though my teammate dies, he had to take the map control on the other side. I can play the revive, and at this point, I know he's below. I know he's invis. He's got to hop up. He doesn't have shotgun ammo, and we can get the free kill, right? And we win the game, right? 5-4. Didn't do anything special, but we ended up coming up on top from just playing smart and changing my mentality from, not just being this, I need to be the guy to make the big plays, right? You know, a lot of people, they think whenever their teammate is, they're 0-4 down and their teammate has like one kill, they're like, oh, he's a lost cause. Well, no, not necessarily, right? They could have gotten bullshitted a few rounds in a row. So, yeah, this kind of video is a little new, and I'm not sure if you guys enjoy this. So if you did, leave a like, because I like talking about the game like this. I think my strengths as a player compared to some of the other people who play this game is I grew up playing team sports. I grew up playing, competing for a long time, right? I've had great coaches. I've gone through phases of, being a toxic player online, and I need to be the guy. Um, and I think that part of my game is something that a lot of Destiny players don't really understand or take note of because Destiny's a game where you fly around and do stupid shit, right? Um, but even though it is one of those games where you kind of just run around and do stupid shit, at the end of the day, it's a team game, right? The time to kill in the game, this isn't Counter Strike. You can't just swing out and one deke three people down mid and win the round, right? You have to. The time to kill does not allow you to be the only guy on your team. And that's what kind of makes it frustrating sometimes because we can, and me as well, we get into this loop and this mentality of I'm going to keep solo queuing trials and they keep getting the better teammates and I'm up against it. Try and embrace that. Try and, that's what I've tried to do. Like I've said earlier, the game is in the worst state possible, and I will be ripping Bungie. I checked the TWAB yesterday. I waited to see this week if they said anything about the Invis Hunter meta. They did not. I'm gonna fucking rip them next week, so keep an eye out for that video because I'm fucking tired of it. It's unacceptable. But how I see it is, or not how I see it, how I choose to see it. My perception of it is this shit sucks, but I'm gonna try and do my best in this environment and try and play the best I can. So, I know I get a little rambly. That's just who I am. Sorry. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you could take something from this. If you like more of these things, I love talking about the game like this. I love talking about mentality and some of these other less talked about things, trying to get the most out of your skills as a player. For example, in Control, if you're a player and you just want to go cap zones and you're a bad player, you are doing the most value you can for the team. And I don't see many people talk about this, right? Most people say, "Oh, he missed his shots. You're a shit player," right? Well, you might be a shit player. You might work a 9 to 5. You might, have arthritis. You might have gotten blown up by an IED serving our country, right? There's so many different things out there, and games are for everyone. So the main thing is find a way to have the most value possible, and don't let your ego and I know this is easier said than done, but hopefully this game shows it. Don't let your ego stop you from making the right plays to win the game. Don't be afraid if you're a 2.5 KD and you're not having a good game. Try and change your mentality a little bit. Try and see it a little bit differently. Because you could see from this game, I didn't do anything special, but we had a 4-0 comeback, right? And by removing myself from the emotional part of this game, I think that's what ended up winning it for us. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. And yeah, I'll be streaming today or tomorrow on Twitch and YouTube and TikTok. So if you're interested in that, feel free to follow me on there. The links will be down below. And yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys.